The following is a Cruizers Motorsports exclusive.
As you can probably guess, today's car was a little bit hard to procure as it's such a specialty exotic car. I'm just kidding. This is like my best friend's car, so this one was easy to get. Today's car, 1997 Lotus Esprit twin turbo V8. Now, of course, we're guys and we all love watching these videos to hear about the numbers of the car, and I'll get to that, my driving impressions and everything. However, I'm going to spoil a whole bunch of it for you right now. This is absolutely one of the finest, if not the finest, automobile I've ever had the privilege of driving. Now, my buddy that owns this says that when you own an exotic car like this, you pay for it 3 or 4 times over if you own it for a lot of years because the maintenance costs on them are so high. And I can tell you by driving this thing and the fact that it still feels new, that the upkeep that he has done on this is second to none. Which is just a monument to my buddy's meticulous amount of detail when it comes to things that need attention like this car. There's nothing, I mean absolutely nothing that is slightly awry. There's not even any rattles on the inside at 100 miles an hour. I'm sorry, speed limit, 70 miles an hour. So, you want to talk numbers? All right, it's a 1997 Lotus Esprit twin turbo V8. The V8 is all aluminum, 3.5 liters. The twin turbos are Garrett 42 millimeters. It has a top speed of 175 miles an hour and a 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds, which is pretty damn impressive for 1997. Now, I'm hearing what you guys are saying. 350 horsepower, that's not really a whole lot of power compared to today's standards. Well, when you're talking 350 horsepower in a car that was built from the ground up to put power back down to said ground, it's a lot. Especially when you couple it with the fact that the car only weighs 2,800 pounds. Follow my channel, you know that I am a sucker for a car that has factory provenance. And this one has it in spades. 1997 is the first year for the Lotus V8. This engine damn near bankrupted Lotus when they designed it. To add to that, this very car is number 9 off the assembly line for the 1997 model year. To add to that, this car is the official advertising car for Lotus America. So, in other words, when you picked up the car pamphlet at the dealership, or you saw a picture of the car, the new 1997 V8 Lotus, on a billboard, in a magazine, it was this car. Not one that looks like this car, not a recreation, it was this particular car. That is really, really cool. Now, I'm driving this, and I've got to drive it for a little over a week now. I'm not using it for a daily or anything, but I've just taken it out and played with it a few times. And I feel kind of bad because my buddy, you know, he works a lot, and he's got a lot on his plate. I have probably enjoyed this car more in the last week than he has in the last 6 months. Another funny story about it was, for a lot of years, he was really iffy on letting me drive it.
Look, Edward, are you familiar with a stick shift? Have you driven a shift?
Yeah.
Listen, all right, just be ginger with it. Don't, it's a new car, don't...
Okay, I can do it.
It's just, Edward, give me a break, please.
Love it.
Now, we're talking about the guy who owns the race team that I drove for and won a championship in, okay? So he knows I can drive a fast car, and he was still kind of hesitant on letting me drive it, saying, you know, you have to understand the nuances of a mid-engine car, blah, 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 blah. He made it sound like you almost had to have an engineering degree in rocket science to drive this thing. I realize now he was completely putting me on. This thing drives like butter. It is literally one of the smoothest cars I have ever driven, and it's got this Superman complex to it. In other words, driving it right now, it's Clark Kent, you know, very mildly mannered. You wouldn't assume anything of this car because how smooth it is when you're not getting on it. The steering input, you feel connected and it's firm, yet you never feel out of touch with it, and it's also not too heavy. Can't believe how smooth this throttle is. I had a really hard time modulating the throttle as I did the talkie bits here, talking to you guys, in all the muscle cars I did, because they were just really rambunctious. They wanted to go, or they wanted to stop. There wasn't a whole lot, you know, in the middle. So like I was saying with the Jekyll and Hyde bit, Superman, Clark Kent. You drive it normal like this, and you know it's Clark Kent. It's Mr. Jekyll. Then you put your foot down, smooth as can be. It shows you Dr. Hyde. Oh my shit! Turning radius on a go-kart too. My God, I could parallel park this thing if I needed to. then again, you know, you slow back down and it's just smooth as butter. I can't, for the life of me, I can't figure out why my buddy said this thing was difficult to drive. I mean, it is literally one of the easiest cars, performance cars to drive I've ever been in, if not the easiest. I don't know, maybe at one point in time he pushed it too hard, maybe looped it around, and this thing probably does give you a false sense of security. Here's where I really wish I could still rent DeSoto Speedway so I can go out there and really show you, you know, what this thing could do. So the mileage, I've noticed, if you're just driving it mildly mannered like I am now, it gets pretty good mileage. You put your foot into it, and those turbos just drink gas like there's no tomorrow. Another thing that I find interesting about this is I got to ride along in a Lamborghini Countach one time, and man, I couldn't see nothing out of it. I was kind of worried that the driver might, you know, mess up at some point in time because we were actually out on a track. And, I mean, I couldn't see anything out of it. And it's because of the compressed canopy. It's because the greenhouse is so small to get it down out of the air and closer to the ground, so it goes faster, obviously. However, visibility is not an issue in this thing. Like I said, I could parallel park this thing if I wanted to. I can see pretty decently out of the back window, and the side view mirrors give a great shot of what's going on beside you. Again, going back to the whole Clark Kent Superman bit, this car is more maneuverable than like a Ford Focus or a Honda Civic. And ironically enough, it's for sale. Believe it or not, he's going to put this up for sale very soon. Now, if you're seriously interested in it, his email will be in the comments down below, or excuse me, in the description down below, so you can get a hold of him. But please, don't be bugging my buddy if you're not serious about buying the thing. So I guess probably y'all gonna be asking how much he wants. Well, I don't really know, because it's one of those deals where if you have to ask how much, you probably can't afford it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out all the other episodes of Skywarps Summer Drive series, like the episode, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so I can bring you more content just like this. Check the description below for links on how to follow Cruizers on social media and for today's sponsor. Stay safe in the time we're going through, my friends, and remember, those friends, they're the family you get to choose. I'll see you next week, fellow Cruisers.